Hello there, magic monsters. Welcome to the stream. Guess what? I decided to stream. I'm very tired today. I had to wake up super early, 5:40 in the morning a.m. time, to drive my mom to a train station so she could get to the airport station and get on her way to the other side of the country. And then I had to work all day, like a worker. And then here we are. And I was going to just start working on this, but then I was like, well, I should probably just stream it because there's some cool stuff here. And I think I know what I'm going to be doing for the next little bit. So why not stream it? And so that's where we are. That is exactly why I am here and you are here, if you are here and or you are watching. And that's the events that led up to this moment in time. Whatever time is. All right, we got some iced coffee, got our project. Let me show you what has been going on. So, hello, Tech Dave. There is. It sucks. I suggest not exploring it. So we have now a pause. So when you can see the camera's not moving now, we can still do stuff here. We are at a pause level. Oh, there's a bug right there. We are at pause level that should turn on when we open this. Interesting. What's going on here? All right. Well, there's something going on there too. I'm hitting the space bar, and we're getting a lot more boxes. And so there you go. So that's another bug. But the pause level then turns off technically when you escape from it. So let's figure out what the hell just happened. Because two things happened that shouldn't have happened, and I think we should fix those things that shouldn't have happened. Seems appropriate. All right, so first, this should disappear when it closes. All right, so that's good. Problem is that I'm hitting space and it keeps opening because this is already opened. So we need a way to know whether this is already opened. And so let's just see our debugs here. All of these, by the way, can now be turned off. I've been doing this debug options thing where you can toggle off right in console. It only happens in the editor anyways, even if you have it on. But I found it helpful to know what's happening when I do this, for instance. So if I hit space again now, I can just pause this, and we can see box manager, open inventory, panel manager doing all this stuff. This is happening twice, so that's probably something to be fixed. Actually, it's happening 3 times, so it's something to be fixed. This shouldn't be happening either. So there's multiple things here that shouldn't be happening. Although this is not part of the normal debugs. This is my own debug. So let's start with the open inventory. Opening inventory does exactly what it says it should do. The only downside is I do have it set so that it selects the objects that it's on. But you do need to click the second one, not the first one. All right, so open inventory, right to console here. So this is the issue, I think. The panel manager is now going to say set the other panel to something like this. But what we need to know is this already the other panel? Because if it's the other panel, then we need to not do it. So let me stop this so we don't run into that silly issue where Unity crashes when I change things at run when it's playing, not at run. Yeah, I guess at runtime. All right, so the panel manager is the overall controller of all this stuff. It's just a static object, not a static object, a class that has a static reference to it in the project. And so we just need to keep a record of our other panel that's up, and specifically the game object that it came from. So we've got our other panel there. We're going to say private game object, other panel object. And now when we open our thing here and say panel manager set other panel, we will do toggle other inventory panel, blah, 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 return default if we don't have a new panel. All right, then we'll do it right here. Other panel object equals new panel dot Nope, that won't work. We'll need to do this here. Game object. So that's going to be that. And we will add that to the XML. All right, and then back here, we'll just need to put in our new panel and our game object for our box manager. That should do the trick, and then we can say if panel manager, and we'll actually do this above the console, right? So if panel manager dot what was it called? What did I call it? It was just 5 seconds ago. Other panel object. Other. Oh, I'm gonna have to make it public or something. We'll do it like this. Other panel object equals game object. Then we will put a write to console and then return. And the write to console is going to say this inventory is already open. All right. And back here, we'll just do a property for this that says public game object. Oops. Other panel object. That's going to be other panel object. And I believe then we could make this an auto property. There you go. So a private set public get. I will move it down lower here to keep things organized somewhat. And that should be that. Yep, we set it there. All right, other panel object. Now let's see if we fix that bug. Inventories are open. Perfect. All right. Now the other bug was that, you know, we have the ability to go back and forth between. Oh, there's introduced another bug. We need to clear that out when it closes. We do. Let's see. Toggle other inventory panel false. So basically we're turning off whatever existing one is there, and then we turn on the new one. And if we don't have a new one, then we return default, and then we toggle the other one true. Okay, and then so if we are toggling it false, if we're not turned on, we reset polish level, and then we're also going to say other panel equals null. I think that should work. Actually, no, it might not. Let's see. This is going to be because we're always going to turn it off, which will set it to be null, and then we will set it here to be something. Yeah, I think that should work. That makes sense then. Okay, I think we'll see. ASMR. Clickety, clackety, clickety, clackety. All right. Let's see. So we are, and you know, bonus points if you can spot the other thing that we need to fix in all of this process. Not specific to this, but there's something else that keeps happening that needs to be addressed. So bonus points if you can figure that out. All right, so we can't open it. Now we can. All right. So the other issue was that I can open this and go back and forth between these two, which is great. But look, we are unpaused now. So we need to say, actually, let's look at our debugs for this. So we find the spot in the code where this happens. So if we're here, and then we open this one, all right, there we go. That's where it happens. It seems like panel on disable, maybe. Set hover false. No. Reset pause level. So this happens. Player portrait got clicked. Yada yada yada. Panel manager. Toggle inventory false. All right. So this is when we call this, we do our reset pause level right here. And we don't necessarily want to do that. Unless right after we, yeah. So on enable is where we do a set pause level, I believe, or somewhere related to on enable. 152. Panel manager 164. Set pause level. And so let's see, toggle player inventory panel. If we have, shoot, this gets tricky. So we have our reset pause level here, reset pause level here. It will reset when either of them turn off, but they're turning on and off between the two. So what's the logic there? We set pause level at the end, and if we're not turning it off, we reset at the end, and then we do this here. So I guess the logic would be to turn off the other one first and then set our pause level. So this will be called, it would reset the pause level, then we'll set the pause level. Maybe that will work. And similarly, if we're going to set the pause level, and if it's not active, activate it. So let's change this around. We need set pause level to be at the end of this as well. And so we're going to invert this. So if it's active, then we're going to deactivate it, and then we'll set the pause level. And so this is going to be deactivate the player inventory and reset pause level, and then set the pause level. And this is going to be deactivate the other inventory and reset the pause level. And we could actually check, I believe this checks itself. If there's no other panel, then we return. Can this check itself too? No, because this one's just static. It's always there. It's either on or off. So what we could do, if it's already off, do nothing. If we're trying to, let's see. So return if there is none, and then we can say if the player inventory panel is active and that value is equal to turn on, then return because we're already on. Don't do anything if we are already turned on, off, and that's what we want to do. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? I don't know. And then I think that means we could just do this, and this won't even get called now if it's not. Oh, hello, the bull. It's been a while. How are you doing? I think about you. How's your job? Your day job that's not stocking shelves at 3 a.m. in the morning when it's dark out. All right, let's see if we've screwed everything up. All right. All right, we're still paused. That's good. Uh-oh. So when we closed that one, we became unpaused.
Oh yes, I've been waiting for this.
So the problem here, we escape and we do that. So reset pause level happened because we did keyboard and mouse, toggle player inventory false. We're not turning on, so we're resetting the pause level. I see. So here we basically have to say so we're not turning on, so we reset the pause level. But if there is another player, then so if there is one, then we don't reset the pause level. Oops, too many ifs. So if there's another panel, or if there's not another panel, then we reset the pause level. But if there is no other panel, then we don't. Okay. You know, this is the problem, is that I have toggle rather than turn it on and off. Maybe that would be more clear if it wasn't toggle, but I think it's okay for now. I like toggles, but at the same time, on, off makes a lot of sense too. All right, so we got this. We can open this up. We can close it. Good, we can close it and we're free. We can open this one. We're free. Open it. I guess we can't open the other one while we're here. So we can drop that, open this one, close it, free. Okay, so that seems to be working. Have you figured out the other issue yet? Let's watch it again. I'll show you again. And you can tell me if you figure out the other issue while we pause during our... We're pausing during that, but there's another issue. Do you hear the other issue? Do you see the other issue? The other issue, I'll tell you. I'll rid you of your anxiety over not knowing the answer. The answer is there are no magic balls being fired right now. But when we are not paused, magic balls fire. But they don't stop moving when we are not paused. So the problem is, I mean, I think that's basically the problem, but the problem is that I gotta fix that bug too. The problem is that if we are here, we get hit, which is great, but if we pause, we still get hit, and that's not cool because we're supposed to be paused right now. So this particle needs to pause. The particle needs to pause. That's the problem. Particles need to pause. And so we're going to do a thing for that. What are we going to do? How are we going to pause the particle? Let's see. Maybe this is a question for ChatGPT, because I think I generally know the concept of pausing the particle. We can stop the movement. We've got this move forward, so that can, you know, turn off or pause when the pause level is something, and maybe that is enough. The other particles will continue. The audio will continue. So let's start with that. We will do pause on move forward, and then everything else we'll just see what we need to do after that. So we got move forward here, and speed options, target options. We're gonna do public int pause level is gonna be 2. I think for this demo, all the pause level I've been saying is 2. Where 2 means things shouldn't move. 1 means maybe we're in turn-based mode, which is how I do it in Legend of the Stones. And in turn-based mode, particles do still move. So they will pause on pause level 2. This will pause at this level or above. So if it's pause level 3, 4, 5, etc., then it will also be paused. All right, so what we're going to do is here is just essentially, I guess, if timeboard.timeboard.gametime.pause, well, maybe is it gametime.pause level. equals equal to or greater than or equal to this, then return. And did I put pause level here? See, we also have the events that are sent optionally on pause level, so people can just listen to the event. So for some objects, maybe you have to do something when it's paused and do something when it's unpaused, like turn things on, turn things off, etc. So in that case, the event would make more sense, listening to the pause level event. But in this case, we're just checking it. And I guess checking it every frame is maybe less efficient than listening to the event, but at the same time, it's not that big of a deal, probably. So I think this is perfectly fine to do it. Yeah. All right, so we just have pause level. All right, so if the pause level is greater than or equal to our pause level, we return. I have to sneeze. Well, that's done. I sneezed. All right. Did you know, I heard once, that sneezing is a learned behavior. Not the sneeze itself, but the sound you make when you sneeze. I might do it again. And so ever since I learned that, I like to make funny sounds after I sneeze in order to see if I can train other people to do it, if they hear me enough. All right, let's see if it worked. Did it work? It seemed to work. So now, stop moving. Wait. What just happened? Disappeared. Alright, so it seems to be working. It's okay that the audio keeps going, right? I mean, this isn't... Where'd it go? What's happening with it that it's disappearing like that? I mean, it's an editor thing. It's not a runtime thing, I don't think, but it, as I move around, it disappears. Oh, I know what's going on. It's destroying itself. Watch. It's not when it moves around. I have it to set to destroy after 10 seconds on spawn, so that's the issue. The issue is that it's destroying itself, so we should fix that. Magic pedestal is going to have a magic ball, and so let's see. Destroy. So this is the issue. We're destroying after 10 seconds, just in case, which makes sense, but I think what we need to do is add a new script to the magic ball that destroys itself, but takes into account the pause level, so that it's doing a very similar action. We want the just in case destroy, just in case it gets spawned, and we don't want, you know, thousands of things being out there forever and ever and ever. So I think what we need is an auto destroy. So I think we will put it on scripts, handy things. Create C# script auto destroy, and we will put this in our namespace, Infinity PBR.modules.demo. You can move it out of this namespace if you so choose, but I do like to make it explicit that this is a demo script, because I do not like it when people give me a bad review because they didn't like a demo script, when the demo script is just a demo script and it's not the main thing. The main thing is not the demo. But that happens from time to time. Somebody will give a perfectly fine large package full of content a 1-star or 2-star rating simply because they thought that the sound effect didn't sound right. So it's a 2-star package now because one sound effect didn't sound right to them, or the music wasn't right for them, or some other small thing that really wasn't the main bulk of the content. And come on, was that really enough to make it from a 5-star to a 2-star? By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you do get the Infinity PBR stuff on the Asset Store, please do write reviews. It's insanely hard to get quality reviews, like 5-star reviews or really any reviews. People are much more quick to write a negative review, but it goes a long way. It actually boosts the rankings in the store when you write a review, I think, as much as when you purchased it. So writing a 5-star review is tremendously helpful. And the reality is less than 1% of people probably actually write reviews. It's very, very, very small. So I appreciate it if you do. Okay, what are we doing with this here? We're going to do a header. We probably don't need options here, but we'll put it in anyways. And we'll do public float time to destroy, or we'll just say lifetime. And we'll make this 10 by default. We shouldn't make it 0 by default. That would be not cool. Maybe make it a little bit more. Maybe we'll make it 20. And then public float, public int pause level is going to be equal to 2. And then we will do update's probably fine. Private void update. And we will say lifetime minus equals time.delta time. But we will say that if timeboard game time dot pause level equals or greater than or equal to pause level, then we will return. And you could, of course, make this a property. So you could say right here, private bool is paused, and do that. And then we could just say if is paused, return. Otherwise, do that. And if lifetime is less than equal to 0, destroy game object. Very simple script there. And therefore, it's perfect. Perfect, I tell you. All right, particles, magic ball, auto destroy, and lifetime is 20. Magic explosion, auto destroy. I think this doesn't need it, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to put that at 5. And there's no pause level here, so we're going to put this at 99. Essentially, it's never going to pause. So let's see. Where's our magic ball? Here. And whoops. All right, so we have a magic ball and paused, and magic ball should be, yeah. So now if we move this magic ball up in the world so that it doesn't crash into anything, and we make this only 4 seconds. Oops. And it destroyed itself. There we go. All right, so that works. Those are the 2 things I wanted to do. Actually, there were more. I'm going to keep this debug warning going on here because this might come up again. But otherwise, I'm going to not do it. Let's see. Game data start actions. I can get rid of that one now. And then we're going to do a quest thing where we give a reward as a quest because that's important. Plus, I have this weapon here called the Master Sword, and the Master Sword is a quest item. I added this last night. What's a quest item? It's a little misleading. Quest item doesn't mean it has to be a quest item. It essentially means it's an object that's going to be handled, that could be handled differently than others. It doesn't mean it has to be. handled differently than others. It's an option to handle it differently than others. So if you turn that on, it's now called a quest item. I think often would be used as quest items, but often the idea is that it's an object that perhaps you can't just throw away. So as an example, in this system, we've got this shield here, and I can just kind of chuck it. So we can throw the shield away. That is not allowed for quest items, because quest items in this demo, you can't get rid of them because they're quest items. You need them, otherwise, to destroy the game. So what we're going to do is look at our inventory required scripts. You can see here that there's an option here. You can drop quest item. It's turned off. So that means if that was a quest item, it should not be chuckable. But we don't yet have the way to get the item, because the item's meant to be a reward for finishing this quest with the goblin. And maybe there's this other thing I need to fix first, because this is an annoying bug. Not really. It's a bug. Yeah, it's a bug. It's an annoying little visual bug here. We have already rescued the puppy, but we have not turned in the puppy to the goblin here. So I'm going to save so we're in the right spot here. So when we turn it in, we can see the door, which is supposed to be closed right now, will open right there. And that's not supposed to happen. Why is this red?
I was so worried because I am very hungry, and I did want to eat a cold dinner. For your service, I will open this door for you. Thank you from the bottom of my belly.
So, anyways, the point is that this door is supposed to be closed until the quest is turned in, but currently its logic is that it's open because the quest has been succeeded. So, let's see. So load status, save state, last status is, what's last status? Where do we set last status? Data, last status, we set it when we load it, we save it, we load the last status of this, I guess. Door quest save data. Last status is not started. And then we save it either succeeded, failed, or in progress to string. So apparently it's getting set to succeeded. No, that can't be right. All right, let's try something. I'm going to go back and start this demo scene again and confirm this is actually what I think it is. It might not be. All right, so we'll start a new game. We're going to use the debug start here. Clearly my window's smaller than it was in the past. There we go. So we will debug. Uh-oh, what's going on? What happened here? This shouldn't be happening. Player inventory is open. So there's no panel manager here. So if panel manager does not equal null, and that. So that should solve that, I believe. Oh, it looked like there were 5 errors, so it could happen in more places. All right. There are still 4 errors. Why are there errors? An item with the same key has already been added. Oh, yes? What is this? What's going on? Start actions for the player. Demo actor. Base start actions. add displayable inventory to repository. All right. So this is taking the I have inventory object, getting its game ID, and adding it. So it's saying that these have already been added to the dictionary. So let's just quickly search for this and see. Let's see, adding Blackboard note, followers, note, followers, blah, 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 blah. These are all the same. Notifying, updating, adding. Okay. So this simply calls the repository and says add this to the repository as displayable inventory. That way, hello Tyler, the panel, the panels, the inventory panels don't need to know have a reference to the actual object, which can't be serialized. So it just saves a reference to the game ID scriptable object, which can change during runtime, etc. And it can get an easy reference to the object through the repository, because the repository is a static reference that anything can access, and it can act as a bridge between various things. So we're using that in that case. And apparently this gets called, I mean, apparently it's being called multiple times, I suppose. So if we then go here and, okay, I see. So this is where it's being called on start actions, it's being called on player awake. And so that's probably the issue, is that it's being called in both of these spots. So I don't think we need it in both those spots. Find awake. Where'd it go? Where did it go all of a sudden? Start actions. All right, so base start actions. So it happens on base start actions, and the other place, it says one usage, but it's 4 times. Player.awake. So I don't think, yeah, we do want it on player awake. We don't need it on start actions then. All right. I'm going to comment it out and write myself a note. Say Jan 31 happens on awake, or player.awake. So don't need to do it here. All right, so that should work. That means if you player could also be a, actually, is the player? No. Actually, now that I think about it, do we? No, this is the old one. So no. Wait a minute. Undo. Okay, let's figure this out. Debug.log. Actually, let's put it down here. We're going to comment this out for now, and we'll then copy it and paste it and make it a thing. And we will do this, and then we'll say debug.log warning. adding to repository, and we will also say our game ID. All right. I just want to see where it's being added twice. So this should give us multiple for each. So we should see 8 warnings with the similar message, 2 for each player. All right, and then we'll pause and remove this. All right, adding to repository here, and it works perfectly fine. And this is happening on create random character, new player dot start actions. So we call start actions here, and then we call start actions again later, it looks like. Why do we call it again later? Do we need to call it again later? Set up characters. So I think that would mean we don't need to do this. But start actions happens. So start actions happens at normal runtime. It happens when you load the state. See right here, game data load state. So we do need to do that here because the player needs to do those actions at the start of the game. But the other time it does it, do we need to do it there, or can we hold and do it later? I think we have to do it there too. So we might just need to do a check to see if it's already added, and if not, add it again. And I guess, I mean, that's probably the easiest way to do it, and logical as well. So create random character, new player, start actions. Pre-player start actions, then add the player to the game data list of players. Star actions does the base star owner, etc., etc. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that there. So what we're going to do then instead is go to our repository, and we will update this to check first. So if display contains key value dot game ID return. So if it contains the value already, then return. Otherwise, we will add it. And that should be that. And then we can put this back to where it was. All right. I think that's a fine solution. Let's make sure it works, and then we'll get back to what I was doing before. How do you like all these thumbnails I've been using for the live streams? They have nothing to do with the actual project, but I've been slowly building a large icon package with thousands, like I think 3,000 plus icons of portraits and sci-fi and fantasy, all in that same look and feel. All right, so we now have no errors. Everything is working. We can select things. We can do all that. All right, debug start. And all right, so now we are here. We're going to talk to this person, but let me get myself some gold so we can pass this quest.
Well,
All right, we'll pass that quest.
okay. Well, I think I should buy a bow.
All right, so I'm going to save it here. So when we reload, it starts out here. We're going to look at the door, dungeon door. Is it not? Last Dash is not started. Okay.
Lo, goody goody goblin drops.
All right, so Last Dash is started.
Much time I can feel. There was time, maybe 10 seconds or so. That isn't much time at all. So you better hurry up.
Okay. And this is essentially where we were with that last run through. So I'm going to stop there. Our last status is started. Let's load up that scene. Last status is started. We should load up right in front of the goblin. And the door's open. So door, let's look at the last status is started. All right, so I didn't think started was an option. When it said started, that was my, like, started. Why is that? Started. It should be one of these. So where do we set that? Receive quest event. And then we set, so started is an event that happens, that happens only once. Okay, I see. So started, we do have to handle it. I wasn't handling it. Well, we should get the in progress one too. Started happens one frame, and then immediately afterwards it should go to in progress. And that's why I should get another status with that. Debug.log warning. Store status is quest event dot status dot toString. And the reason why it is doing this is we don't have a thing for that, I suppose. Set door, load last status. So we need an else. So we'll do all these else. Well, we should do a switch statement, actually. This is where a switch statement comes into play. Case succeeded. Break case failed. Break or default. That. Why is this not working now? What am I missing? Add break. All right. I think that will work. All right, and we're going to look at the door, and we should be getting the event for in progress. All right, so the door's closed. That's nice. Dungeon door. Last status is started.
Oh, yippee! 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 Yippee!
Succeeded.
You have found my cube.
All right, so we need to start over and see if we can get it switched to in progress. So we fixed kind of the bug, but not the root of it. The root of it is that it should have gotten the in progress event, and it didn't seem to get that. All right, we need money.
Well, huh? That worked. Okay. Well, I
Get our
think I
door.
should buy a boat. See you later, sucker.
All right, not starred is, I'm looking down here. Not starred is the last status.
Hello. I'm a very,
We'll clear this.
very sad goody goblin.
Started.
Hurry, hurry.
On our
Don't
way.
have much time.
All right, let's see something real quick. Door status is started. Adding note, big door, subject open. Okay. Pause. Okay. If we look at the quest itself, I just want to confirm this. Quests. Rescue the puppy. The status is in progress. So the quest event board didn't seem to fire as appropriately, and I'm not writing to console, so that's an issue. Oops. Get back to the right. Oh, I think I accidentally pressed it twice. Then we need to get back to the right scene. All right. And get some gold. And I'll save it after I talk to her.
That worked.
We'll save over here.
Well,
This error that we're seeing in the console is not something I haven't figured out what that all is, but it doesn't seem to have any impact. All right, so are we quest event board? We are right into console. Okay. So did I save? All right.
Lo, I'm a goody-goody goblin drops. Hurry, hurry. Don't much time I can do.
All right. So quest event board. Add quest event. Status started. Pushing it. And that's it. We didn't add another one. All right. Well, there's the issue. Game quest list. All right. Let's just go through it. So we add send event. Quest at start. That's good. So this is where the event is sent. Do we do it elsewhere? We do it... No. Is that the issue, that I'm not sending the event? Maybe it is the quest itself. Game quest. Send event. Send event if changed. Set status. New status equals status. And we should be changing it there. So are we sending the event if changed on the game quest? And to do this, we will look at the quest. Rescue the puppy. That's the reward settings. Aha. That's why we didn't turn it on. I think that's why. Let's find out. And we look at the door. Not started. Okay.
Lo, I'm a very goody-goody
Started.
goblin
On our
drops.
way.
Hurry, hurry.
All right. It didn't
Don't
work
much time.
there either. So let's look at that code. Send event if changed is set to true by default. Okay, let's see. Quest step dot send quest events. That's the quest step, but we need the whole quest. me see. So we don't have the quest now. This is a different quest. It's complete. We have
Lo, I did
Yes,
get
now-
goblin drops.
the status is in progress.
Don't much time I can feel.
All right, so let's dig through the code. Status equals. Where does this happen? Complete quest fail, complete quest success. Is that the only time? In progress. Oh. I see. So it's automatically set to in progress. So it doesn't send an event because it just is. I see. So, I suppose that means if we go to our quest here, that was the quest step that I sent that for. We actually don't need that. We don't have an option for that, so I think we'll just send it. We send it on the awake by on the setup on the other script sends the quest step or quest event, but I think we should do this on probably creation right here. So send quest event. What do we do in the others? Status. All right. Let's try that. All right, this I think this will solve that problem. And the door's been fixed, so that's nice. And then we can move on with life. All right, dungeon door is not started. It is. Of course, we'll find it in progress. Good. On our way. So we will save.
Don't much.
And we are now in progress. Good. And the puppy is alive still, but not for long. There's the living puppy. If we hit space, we would rescue it, but we're going to wait for it. Oh, it died. Now it's dead. So the status has not changed because the quest is still active. Even though we know that the puppy has died, this here goblin does not know that. And he won't know it until we return it. So I'm going to save here. And we'll see it again. The puppy is dead. We've collected the puppy. We have the body of the puppy.
Oh,
And now he's very
my
sad.
goblin god.
He's a very sad
My
goblin.
sweet
But the door opens anyway. He opens the door for us, and we can move on and go in here.
It is dead.
But
Come to the place where all you things go.
there is
And you
success.
pray.
Oh, there's a success reward and a failure reward. So we need to. I should have done the success reward because there's no failure reward. So a reward doesn't have to be good, you know. So rewards could be anything, but on this case, we do have a success reward, which is this Master Sword. Quest rewards are here, so you can see it in both places. But in this, it's the Master Sword. That's the name of the reward, and it's an item object reward. You can create these by going create game modules quest reward, choosing one of those. There are going to be more in the end. These are just the two that I've started with. And so it's driven by the loot module. Basically, Master Sword is itself a loot item. So Master Sword, and this loot item just has the Master Sword. It's the only thing. And the loot box has a Master Sword in it. So essentially, when we test generate loot, we're going to create one Master Sword. Because the loot items only has one thing in it. And the quest only has one thing in it, and it's force, so it's 100% of the time. we test generate loot, and it's that one. And then in the quest rewards for the Master Swords, you can basically add any I mean, you can have 2 Master Swords, but you can basically add any loot box to the thing here, and then it will create all of that. So if we look at level 1 chest in our loot boxes, where is it? Level 1 chest. You can see that there's multiple options here, and now when we chest generate loot, we'll get all these different options. So if we had that, and it's going to be different every time because there's randomization going on here. So if we were to give both of these, then it would return a list of all of these plus the magic sword. But of course, we only want to give the player the magic sword. And so in our Master Sword loot items, no, not loot items, in our quest rewards Master Sword, we are only doing the Master Sword. And it's going to return, well, it's going to give a game item object list to this I handle quest rewards object. And so if you notice here on the quest repository, I've created a new variant that has on it this quest reward handler that will handle the rewards. So the quest repository will automatically identify that it has a reward handler. That means it knows what to do when it gets a reward. It's going to get that list and then pass it to the handler. What we do with it is completely up to us. So let me go back and get us to a point where we can actually test this out. I guess I get rid of this debug log. All right, so let us do our thing here. We'll debug start that. All right, and we will add some gold. We will get rid of 100 of it.
Well,
See, this is actually.
experience at kick-ass
We'll let her
democracy,
talk.
But here I am to block your path. Get me 100 gold if you want to pass. Do you accept my terms?
The actual reward for success here is negative 100 gold. So the requirement for success is having at least 100 gold, and the reward is losing 100 gold. So essentially you're giving her 100 gold, and that's how we get that math through. There's no need to write any special code. It's just say, hey, your reward is minus 100 gold. So your gold stat, the points is minus 100 points, and that's that.
Well, that worked.
And now we have 78 instead of
Okay.
178.
Well,
All right, so let's save the puppy, and then we will save the game,
Lo, goody goody goblin drops.
and then we can more easily test this system out. All right, so the puppy is saved. I'll move closer,
Die in maybe 10 seconds or so.
and
That isn't much time at all. So you better hurry up.
save the game. All right. So now when we... Oh, shoot, wrong scene again. Wrong scene. I always do that. I do that all the damn time. Scenes, the magical scenes. Demo world. Press play. It will load our last game. Here we are. So if we look at our debug log
Oh,
here,
yippee.
when we turn it in, we should have... There we go.
You have found my...
Well, we have a few things. I'm going to stop it here. So, a few things. I'm going to get rid of this debug. This could be a switch action too. All right. And then we have our quest event board and our handler thing. So let's go through what these are saying. Quest event board says quest event status exceeded. At that time we also had this happen. There are 1 in the game item object list that was generated. That's the Master Sword. And then we're going to handle item object rewards for 1 object, and that happens in our thing here. So we've successfully gotten the list with the 1 object. What we do with that, entirely up to us. So let's see. As an example, when we have an object be picked up through these buttons here, this is kind of what we're going to be doing. So if I pick up a short sword, it now loads up here. So I think that's essentially what we're going to be doing. It's going to load up, and with the sword, we can give it to a player by clicking there, and then it's in our inventory. Or we can throw it. Now, since this magic sword is supposed to be a quest item, we're not going to be able to throw it. That's the idea, so we'll test that out. But that's how we're going to handle it. So the same logic for pickup item is going to be used for each of those items. And we're going to do it in a coroutine so that if we have multiple, as soon as one's removed, either thrown or put into an inventory, the next one can be picked up, can be handled. So let's do that. Where? Oh, the buttons disappeared. Let's bring the buttons back, and then we'll look at the code on the buttons and go from there. Remind myself what those buttons do. Right. So we are here. There we go. When we get clicked, it says clicky, clicky, clicky. Where's the button itself? Pick up. Pick up. We do UI button group got click picked up. All right. Pause there. Or stop there, not pause. Got clicked picked up. On-screen item pickup. Well, that's easy. And so in our handler, quest reward handler, we're going to do this. For each of our item or game item object in game item object list, dot list, we're going to give a reward, but we're gonna have to move this. We're gonna say on-screen item, and on-screen item comes from on-screen item. So we have to, yeah, that makes sense. So we have to do using static Infinity PBR to modules.inventory to on-screen item, and then on-screen item pickup. And so we're going to move this to a coroutine. So we're going to say private IE numerator give out items and pass in our game item object list. I'm just going to copy and paste this. And then we will say start coroutine, give out items, game item object list. And then we will do this. We're going to say while, well, let's paste this in first, and then while on screen item dot item is item held. We should change that. While that is true, oops, then yield return null. All right, so we're going to change this a little bit, but first, item is held is more proper. What? We have conflict. Cancel. What's the issue here? Item is held. Oh, that's funny. All right. All right. Well, I already had what I was looking for. Item is held. All right. So let's see. How are we going to do this? We are going to do a tracker here, private void int index equals -1. And then right here, we're going to say index plus equals 1. No. What are we going to do? Yes, we're doing a while. While. Is this going to work? Okay, yeah, we're gonna rework it a little bit. But okay, so while the index is less than game item object list dot count dot list, or we do count there. While it's less than the count of the list, we will say yield if item is held. Otherwise, say index plus equals 1, and then so now it's going to start at 0, and then we're going to say on screen item.pickup game item object list index, and that's going to pick up something, and then it's going to loop back over here. But since now item is held, we're going to be in this loop, and then it's going to repeat that once for every item in the thing. If we had 2, then the count would be 2, and this would run while it's -1 to get us to 0. It would run while it's 1 or 0 to get us to 1. Is that right then? Or should we do this and start out at 0? So we start at 0, pick up 0, then it goes to 1, which is still less than the count, because the count is 2. So then we do this again, and go count to 2, and now we'd be breaking out of it. Alright, that should do the trick. We shall see. This is actually also going to index equals 0. We have to set that because reset the index, because this is going to be used multiple times. So do this for each item in the list, and yield while on screen item is held. Essentially wait for the player to do something with the current object first. Alright, that should work. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're listening to me ramble on about whatever I'm rambling on about. And maybe we'll all learn something. Sometimes it happens. Alright, so we only have one Master Sword now, so we're going to test a few things. First, does it happen? Does it actually give us the sword? Let's see.
Oh, yippee! Yippee!
Nope, it didn't give us the sword.
You have found my cube.
Aw.
I was so because
well,
I am
look,
very hungry.
it did
I
give us the
want to
sword,
eat cold dinner for your
but
service.
it's not here, so let's see. On screen
Store for you.
item
Thank you. From the
here.
bottom of my belly.
Item held is the Master Sword. Item held object is here. And it's there. You know what it's not, though? It's probably not in the right layer, maybe? No? What's going on here? Look, and we can't throw it, but we can give it. Okay, so it sort of worked. What happens when we pick up a regular sword? Where does that go? It's the same spot. So somehow the regular sword works, but not the Master Sword. And look at that. It's not even... Alright, so I think the camera just can't see it, because we can see it in the editor screen over here, but we can't see it in the game screen. So what I'm thinking is, if we look at the Master Sword, in the inventory, just make sure everything's right. So this, actually it should be, because I just copied the sword when I made this. Where's the sword? Alright, inventory, sword, and Master Sword. sword is item world layer default. Master sword. Same thing. It's the same thing, just with different colors is all. So why would it be not showing up? Let's see. Let's put it back. We'll now pick up a sword. Go back to our inventory. We have the sword there. So what's the difference between these two items? That's the key here. What's the difference? Let's look. So Master Sword, we have, for some reason, 3 of them. So that's something. So those are both the same. Alright. Master Sword. Default UI inventory. Alright, so that's why. This need... Oh, that's right. Alright, that's why. So, when you create the object, this is the world object of the Master Sword. So its layer is default because it lives in the world. It's a 3D representation. For the inventory one, it's a UI inventory. And if we load this up, we see that we have the Master Sword world object with the scripts removed as it, but we do need to change that layer to the world inventory. So now it should work. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate that you're here. All right, so we talk to the goblin. We get that. Yes, our sword is now here. We can move around while we try to do something with it. We can't throw it because it's a quest item, so we can give it to her, and now she has the item here. And we can equip it and unequip it. Everything just works. Magic.
From the bottom of my belly.
And that is essentially the system. So now let's give ourselves a bunch of stuff. So we're going to go back to the reward here, the quest reward, and we're going to add these other loot boxes. Let's add the level 1 chest, and you know that's going to give us a lot of stuff because if we go to our loot boxes, level 1 chest, I need to move these prefabs over to, or these objects to the other thing. We can see that it's going to generate a lot of loot, so it's going to give us just a shit ton of stuff. So let's just test and make sure that it works as expected when we have a shit ton of stuff to dole out. All right, and to handle.
Oh, yippee! Yippee!
All right, so we can't throw this.
Yippee! You have found my cube.
There you go. So it gave us all that stuff.
I was so worried because I am very hungry.
That worked. That's nice. And if we can put it to, we don't have to throw it in the world, we can put it in our inventory too. How fancy is that?
Oh, yippee! Yippee!
All right.
Yippee!
Yippee! So you do that. Just give her everything, and then she's got everything.
Because I am very hungry. I didn't want to be the cold.
So what happens if we already have our inventories full? So I'll show you. I think I know exactly what's going to happen, but when our inventory is full, we should load up that. We load up the inventory because it's full. So now we can give it to somebody else. And now if we fill her up completely to where she has no room whatsoever in her inventory. Oops. So there's no room. Oh, that's interesting. There is a bug here. Interesting. What was that bug? 2, 3.
Are you done yet?
Interesting. Look at that. It's picked up from the wrong spot. Somehow these got... weird. Okay, that's something to investigate, because that shouldn't be happening.
Are you done yet?
Yep, something's going on there, clearly. Anyway, so now when we get the sword,
Oh, yippee! Yippee!
we can't give it to one. So if all of these were filled, if every single person had full inventory,
Because I am very hungry.
you'd have to find a spot
I
for
want to
it,
eat a
basically.
cold dinner.
So, like, you can't replace 3 boots with this spear. You can't replace that. So you have to find a spot and then pick up
From the
this
bottom of my belly.
and then do something with that before you get the next one. So if it's a quest item, it just means you're going to have to trade it with an item you already have and do something with that other item, like throw it away. Alright, now what the hell was going on with those boots? Them their boots. Let's see. Alright, we've got nothing in our inventory. I'm going to keep doing with the boots since that's what... I don't think it's specific to the boots, but we'll use the boots. There we go. So, pick up the item and put it in the inventory. Fits at 0, 0. Now the inventory goes from top left to bottom right, and it's the rows and columns. So Y 0, 0 is going to be top left spot, and we can see that here. It's in the top left. If we pick it up, it's from the top left. All right. Now, pick up boots, put it here. It's 0, 2, so that is 0 row, second column, 0, 1, 2. And the next one should be 0, 4, 0, 6, 0, 8. And now we have one more, so 0, 10. And, all right, next one should be 2, 0. It is. All right. Let's see now. Pick up item is held complete. Okay, so we need to figure out where we're picking up from. And put that in our debugs, because clearly... Oh! Interesting. We might be picking up... Let me see something. It might be just picking up the first leather boots, and since they're all the exact same thing, it's just picking up the first instance of that. So if we have a short sword and another short sword...
Are you done yet?
No. Oh, yeah, it picked up the first one. Alright, so I think is happening... when we pick up, we got the button panel, pick up game item object... And if item is held, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's see. So this is where it's happening. So object prefab is going to be that. If we don't have one, then we return null because there's nothing to really pick up. That's an issue. So item held is now a clone of this. Then we display that object prefab. And whether it's a quest item or not. Again, we can't get rid of one. And then we say pick up okay. So it's actually not here. 136. This is it right here. Game item, remove item from inventory and spots. And that's the issue. Remove from spots, remove exact, but I bet remove from spots is not removing the exact item. Let's see. Debug.log, remove from spots. game item object at spot inventory spot X slash game item inventory spot X, and which the first one's supposed to be Y because we do YX here for some reason. I don't know why I did YX. I think it always gets me because it should be XY, or at least that's the way I think about it. Maybe in other cultures and ways of doing things it makes more sense. I'm not sure. All right, so pick up a staff, pick up a staff, pick up a sword. So it shouldn't happen when we pick up the sword. Nope, the sword's fine. It's when we pick up the staff that's going to pick up the first staff instead. And it did. Remove from spots 0, 0. So that means that the issue happened before. Issue happened before this. So let's see. Debug.log. Grid clicked. Row N and column N. All right. So if we have an item, we try to put it down. If there's no on-screen item, then we don't do anything. If the spot is not filled, we don't do anything. Then we pick up the item at the spot. Interesting. Debug.log game item object at row N slash column N is spots dot inventory spot Y dot inventory spot X. So these should match, but my guess is they will not match. And that is the root of the issue. But it's not clear to me where this is going wrong, but it could be on the spots itself. Maybe when we set them, we're doing it incorrectly. But let's see. Short sword. Gave her 2 short swords. She's got them. Pick this up. All right. Grid clicked 0, 1. That's correct. Game item object is at 0, 1 is spot 0, 0. All right. So let's put that down here. Spots 0, 1. Spots 3, 0. Interesting. So, well, that was weird. So it seems to be let's go to our players inventory. Game data players inventory. So we have our 2 here. All right, and we see that we have the first one is at this. Let's kind of throw these away and start over. All right, so we have none in our inventory, but if we pick up a short sword, throw it in there, we have 1 at 0, 0. Okay, and then pick up another one, we have another one at 0, 1. Alright, so we load up our inventory. We have these 2. If we look at the spots, we're going to look at 0, 0 and 0, 1. So column 0, row 1 is, well, it's these 2 basically, 0, 0 and 0, 1. They are the exact same game ID. Oh, that's correct, yeah. So it's 0, 1, and then 0, 0, 0, 1. 0 column, 1 column, 0 column, 1 column. Interesting. These are all the same game ID. Why are these the same game ID? That's the issue, by the way. They're all the same game ID, I guess. That's my guess. They're not supposed to be the game ID. Okay, so interestingly though, there's 3 here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so I'm seeing columns. It should be. Oh, did I screw up my column and row thing? I may have. Yeah, I did. Y is rows, X is columns. Oh, fuck me. Pardon my colorful language, but you know, they say people who swear are more trustworthy, so you can trust me when I say I think I effed up. I recently changed a lot of the code to be from X and Y to column and row because I felt that was more obvious. And I think I may have inverted them. I may have accidentally called Y column instead of row, which would explain why there's 3 columns of this and not rows. So there's 2 things going wrong here. One is that the game ID is the same. The second thing is I've inverted my columns and rows, and that's going to be confusing, so I'm going to have to fix that. Are you somehow storing, caching the ID and then assigning it to the item? Yeah, that's my thinking. I'm going to look at the sword down here in the project and see in the inspector what we get. Item. Oh, it's not the sword. It's not that item, of course. It's the inventory in the player. So inventory items has a game ID 107101107. That's where it shouldn't be the same. So I think when we click our button, I think I have the script still up. UI inventory button. Add this. Got pickup. So this is old. Debug.log update. All right, I need to update that option. And so on screen, I am pick up the game item object. When we pick up the game item object, it's already got a thing. I see. So we set up a new game item object here. I see. Okay. And this is our... This is old, by the way. All right. So our UI button here, when we get clicked, we need to do this. And then we also need to say game item object dot game ID force true equals true. So that should reset it so it's a different one each time. So that's an issue, was not with the system, actually. It's just with my silly little button. Yes. Columns are X, rows are Y. But I think I inverted that. All right, so let's pick up a spear, and see that the numbers are different. They are not different. Oh, game ID. Yes, they are different. All right, so now when we go up here, we're picking up the right one. All right, so that problem's been fixed. Oh, God. All right. Ba-boom. Let me just make sure. InfinityPBR.com. And go to InfinityPBR.com. Click on the scripting docs. Give me your email address and click on that. Look at the inventory. Somewhere I explain. Unity defaults UI grids start in the top left. We generally speak of the grids in spots in Y then X rather than X then Y. I don't know why I did that. I really don't, but I did. So the width and height is X and Y. So the width is X, the height is Y. The width is X, which means columns are X and rows are Y. And let's look at my script. Column, no, panel, column. And indeed, wait, rows are Y, columns are X. Oh yeah, I did it right. Row, column, X or YX, row, column, row, column. So why did I think I messed up here? Was I just talking myself into a tizzy? YX. All right, so let's update these because I didn't update the script yet. It looks like for the same updates. So I'm just scanning to find the X's and Y's. Spot Y. So spot row and spot column. All right. Row, column. All right. I think I was just talking myself into a tizzy. Spot row, spot column. And this is exactly why I wanted to change it, because it was easy to get confused if you were looking at the code. Most of you won't need to look at the code. But there are now this many rows and this many columns. It starts in the top left, but there we go. All right. Well, that's good. Woo-hoo. Whoa, boy. That would have been annoying to have to go and fix all that. Well, geez. So that's kind of everything that I want to do. But let me fix this button, and then we'll move forward. I've been drinking this coffee. I'm not as tired as I thought I would be. So I'm sure there's more to do. There's really more reward types to create. That's the big thing. But I do want to fix that button. So UI button. What we're going to do here is say GameData.GameData.ActivePlayer.gain item inventory game item object false, and that should be that. So that should give us, We're basically saying if you get the got clicked add, then the active player will gain the item inventory of that. I don't know what happens if it can't fit though. Let's find out. Press play. It just gave us 5. Oh! It's only giving us 1. Why is it only giving us 1? Oh, interesting. It gave us more than 1. Let's see. But it only showed 1. Add to inventory. It's adding them both at 0, 0. Not cool. All right. So why is that? Gain item inventory. Inventory items dot add. All right. Well, that's the issue. We're just adding it to the inventory, but we're not setting it for the spots. So if we look at what we're doing with the picked up one, we're saying on-screen item pickup, and then for the spots, we say if it got clicked. Remove item from spots. Add in-game from spots. Item can fit item. Where was the button? Or I guess we can go for the on-screen item now. That will do it too. On-screen item, pick up, give held object. When we give the held object, we do all of this. And so all of this needs to happen. Interesting. So this is give held object. I think this is a refactoring opportunity. I could do explicit X and Y in those. That's true. I'll have to think about that, Jack. If it keeps screwing me up in my head, then I might just do that. So all of these things are like, hey, on-screen item, then give it to this player. Player spots, player. Next player spots it. But these are all saying, hey, the on-screen item can do it. So what we really need to do, I suppose, replicate this on the game item object list. Because what we're really saying is, hey, this item object list is going to take this object, and then it can say, was I able to fit it? Because all this is doing is saying, first, if there's no held item, then ignore that. We don't need this anymore. And then find out where it can be fit in the spots. If it can't fit, then it can't fit. Otherwise, it fits, and we give it. And when we give it, we do all this. So I think what we should do, yeah. And this is basically saying the same thing, but give it this explicit row and height, row and column. So I think we need to move this to the game item object list. Each game item object list, does it know its spots? No, it does not know its spots. Should it know its spots? Maybe. But let's start without that first. So we're going to put it down here. inventory module handler for spots and passing objects into this list. Alright, so we are going to mimic this. So instead of give, it's going to be a take. So we will say take object into inventory grid. Is that too explicit? Take into inventory grid. We're going to get our spots passed, and I think we're probably going to end up saying we know our own spots, so we don't need to do that. But for now, we'll just do this. And this is, of course, this. So we don't need to worry about that. And, but you know what we do need to worry about is the item that's held. So we need to say game item object item held. Let's just confirm the item held is a game item object. It is. All right, so this we see item, and this is uppercase G. All right, so we can ignore this, and then spots can fit the item. We don't do a write to console here. We return false. Otherwise, we don't do that. Otherwise, we do the other one. The other one is this down here. So we'll replicate this as well. And this is going to be take into inventory grid. Game item object item. And we're showing game item object, more explicit. And spot row and column. Okay. And don't write to console. And this is the list, so we're just going to say receive transfer. And list dot that, list dot count. And we can do now the last one, list dot last. It should give us the last one. That should be the same as doing this. Same as that. So set spots, and then spots add to grid, list count -1 is the same as saying this. This is going to be handled if the panel is open. So that's going to be handled by the on-screen item. And then remove item will be handled by that as well. All right. All right. So to walk through this, we are going to first call take into grid. We're going to temporarily pass in the spots. We'll refactor that later. I think we can do that. Take into the grid this game item object. It's going to see if it can fit it. If it can't, then it's going to return false. And that's going to mean that these other things are going to have to handle that. Yeah. And then if it can fit it, it's going to fit it at that specific spot. That means you could also call this if you already know the spot. And then it's going to say add it to that spot, set the spots. So receive the transfer. And then set the spots. Then for the spots, add the item to the inventory grid. And then, Yeah, so this sets the spots on the item in the list, and this sets the item on the spots themselves. And then we return true. So for our on-screen item now, if we're giving the held item first, yes, we do want to check if the item is held as false. And then we say game item object list dot take into inventory grid spots and item held. And so if we are successful, we do something. Otherwise, we do something else. So let's do that. We don't need that. So this means we were not successful. So we return false. And then otherwise we were successful and we return true. Because this will do both of these steps at once. And then for this one, I don't think we need to do this. Put held item. Where is this? Oh, okay. I guess we do need to do it. So when we put the held item, what we're saying is we have the exact spots, so we can do a very similar thing. So we will do this. Just check that. We will write to console. There's no returning false here, so we do want the remove item. So remove item, we have to actually do that up here as well. So if we were successful, we remove item. Otherwise, we don't remove the item. Usually, we would have called, after that, we would have called this, which would have removed the item, but we're not removing the item. So write to console, give it. We don't need to do all of that. Instead, we're going to say game item object list dot take into inventory grid. We're passing in spots for now, and pass in our item held, and pass in our spot row and spot column. All right, so then we don't do any of this. We do this. If the panel is up, then we toggle stuff, then we remove the item. Okay. Let's just see. Oh, they got an error. Okay. Okay, we don't know the column and row there, so we can't report. We can only say that it does fit or it doesn't fit. We don't know where from this view now. That's okay, I think. All right, so we're just going to test to make sure I didn't break anything. Then we'll move forward with a little bit more refactoring on that. All right, so if we pick up a long spear, give it to them, she seems to take it just fine. All right. Ah, that was an issue. Okay. So something's going on there. So she has it, but it's not being drawn appropriately. So what happens when we do this? Oh, now it is. What? Okay, so when we drop it specifically, it works, but when we do this, it doesn't. There we go. Okay. Drop item long spear fits into this inventory. Remove item, but we don't reset, so this is Okay, so we're going to say private void. Shit. I don't want to freeze. All right. Private void reset panel. And we will do this. We'll invert this if. So if we don't, then we do that. Otherwise, we'll have to pass in our spots. So if it's not, then we return, and then we toggle panel. Okay, so we will then do here reset panel spots and do the same when we do it up here. All right. All right. Press play. I was reading a text. I don't know. All right. We have pickup item, add to inventory. It didn't work. That add to inventory, we need to fix that. I shouldn't have done it like that. Let me start again because we're going to test the one thing, not the two things. The one thing. All right, so pick up item, put it there. One. All right, now it's working.
I could smash things,
All right,
but
perfect. All right, so that part is working. Now for the button. Where's that button gone? UI button. We need to say take it, but the inventory needs to know its spots. So let's look at that real quick. See where they all are on the thing. So when we look at our player, we have our inventory. We have our spots. They are on the player, but they are separate objects. So the inventory itself does not have spots. It's the object that has the inventory also has spots. Okay, so we need to know that, or the inventory needs to know that. So game item object list, this can be an inventory, it doesn't have to be an inventory. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do public or private spots. No. Public spots is going to be the owner dot get dot spots, but we don't have a get spots. Let's see. What is our owner? Owner is a I have stats. But in this case, our game module's inventory actor is an I have inventory. So what we really need to say is public I have inventory. Inventory owner is going to be I have inventory owner. So we're basically saying if we call the owner, then it's an I have stats. If we call the inventory owner, it's the same owner, but it's also I have inventory. So now way down here, we can see our inventory owner dot spots. Do we have that? Displayable spots is that. Oh, interesting. Displayable spots. Let's see. We might actually have a better way of doing this. Yeah, that works, I guess. Because this gets put in the item object repository, so we could also, instead of doing the owner, etc., we could say. Actually, this might be better now that I think about it. take into inventory grid, we could say, hey, let's call the spots from the item repository. So that would look like this. That would be var spots equals item repository, object repository dot item repository displayable spots for the owner dot game ID. And this is basically the same thing. This is saying, hey, earlier the owner registered themselves as a displayable spots in that dictionary, and now we're going to pull that from there. So we don't need to do the inventory owner thing, which is fine. Just a little less code there, I suppose. And we do need to say, though, if spots is null, then return. So if spots equals null, then we'll do a debug.log error attempting to pass to take game item object name full name oops, into this inventory, but spots is null. Did you forget to register spots with the item object repository? All right, and then return. And return false. All right, and we do the same for this one. Now we are overriding spots here, so if it still works, then that means that we are set. If it doesn't work, well, then I just don't know. Let's see. Okay, pick up item, put it there. Everything seems to be working just fine. All right, so that was good. So now let's remove this and this. And then we have to do var here and a var here. And we could do this. We could do private spots is going to be equal to that. And then we could just say spots is null, and spots. Same here. Spots is null, spots. And then we don't need this here. All right, and then this one can be updated because these no longer take spots. We just have to say take the item, and this one will take the item and put it into that spots, those row and column appropriately. And then on this button, we will do game data dot active player dot take, or inventory dot take into inventory grid game item object. That's that. All right. And actually, let's see. All right, let's make sure this works first, and then we'll make one more update, I think, or we'll talk about before I make it. All right, so gain a spear, gain 2 spears, gain 3 spears, 1, 2, 3. All right, let's keep gaining spears. See what happens when we can't take any more. We could take 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 more spears. Did that happen again? It did, because I have to do this. All right. Nope. Wrong button. Wrong one. This one. All right. We did update this already. All right. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That should be all 12. We are full on those. What happens when we add another one. We have a whole bunch. None are being added. Okay. But if we take one, pass it there, one is added. Okay, good. So just nothing happens. All right. We could say if that, then do something. So if not that, then say debug.log failed to add, perhaps inventory is full. And then what we can do is say got clicked pickup. So now it will just give us one in our hand and tell us do something else with it. Oh, good. It didn't crash. Recently, Unity's been crashing when I make script updates while in play mode. Add 12. One more, and it gives us it to our hand. We can't add any more because there's a check on that. And then can't add it there, so we add it there. Nice. Perfect. Okay, so that was a good update. I like this update. So the other one is this I have inventory. We know it has spots. We know it has an inventory. We have the add displayable inventory to repository. Those are all required. If we look at our actor here, or rather, let me just close some other stuff here. If we look at our object list here, we have take into inventory grid. Should that be here? And should we force it so that any I have inventory can take into inventory grid? And I think so, because here we have our displayable inventory as inventory items. It might be, we've got two inventories on this, or a game item object list. We have inventory and we have equipment. And this is the one we're displaying. We're not displaying the other one. So there's always a chance that there could be multiple. So I think yes. I think the answer is yes. What we need to do then is say public bool take. I'm just going to copy it. Take into inventory, and also this one, so they can do them both. And all we're really going to do here add those is going to say displayable inventory dot take inventory into grid game item object. That's all we're doing. So we're basically saying this is an I have inventory object. So other things don't need to know which game item object list is the correct one to pass it into. Instead, you could just pass it in the object itself. If I had 10 different inventory or game item object lists for whatever reason, then this would determine how it goes. And if you had for some reason multiple, and some objects go in this bucket and other objects go in that bucket, you could add some logic here on your version of this. You can override this entirely, and then in fact. Now you can override it entirely. You can override this and then make your own and add your own logic and stuff. So if we go back to that button, UI. I closed it accidentally. This one, I think it was. Yes, so now we just go to the active player, take into inventory grid, and that should suffice. Let's just confirm. This time we will add a whole bunch of plate armors. Alright, and so now that we can't add any more plate armors, we'll throw one away. We'll talk to the goblin. So now, this is the whole point of all of that. We can't pass this to anybody. We can't throw it. We can't pass it.
I did want to eat a cold dinner. For your service, I will open this door for you. And you, from the bottom of my belly.
Alright, now the goblins. So I can't throw it away because it's a quest item. I can't pass it to anybody because they can't fit it. So I have no other choice than to put it in my inventory and then throw this one away instead. There we go. Alright, so now we've got all these other things. So I can try to throw this in there. So I can't throw this, so I have to put something with this. Okay, chuck this away. Okay, now these objects though, I can't pick these up. I want to be able to pick these up, but I can't. We don't have the code for that right now, and it's blocking me from moving too, or something's blocking me from moving. So I want to be able to pick those up, but I can't yet, and so we need a code for that. So that's the next thing to do. Oh, I should have just kept that playing. All right, let's do it again. Let's see what these look like. Hold on, I reload my YouTube to see if I was lagging, and now I had to skip an ad. Alright, so let's see what these look like. We're going to pick up something big. Plate armor. Throw it there. Alright, so now plate armor's there. Let's find it in the world. Whoops. What do we got here? We have a box collider. There we go. This is the plate armor. We have a box collider. We have box colliders. So we have no logic on this to make it easy to pick up right now. So in reality, a player might click in the world, right? So there's two ways that you might want to pick this up. One, hitting spacebar. All right. Alright, just give myself everything. Alright. So one thing you might go up to it and click space, i.e. space hits, nothing else happens, so why do we have bugs?
And you, from the bottom of my belly.
Oh. Oh. I gotta fix these. Alright. I think we're gonna copy these for all of these that are missing it. Even the old scripts. All right. All right. So that's solved that. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So you can either click it in the world or hit spacebar or something. So let's do space first, and then we'll do the clicking second. So I have a script. How you handle keys and stuff is up to you. I have a script here that does keyboard stuff. So we can do key code dot space. Interesting. So I'm thinking out loud now. When you hit space right now and you're near the goblin handles it. So when we look at that script, it says, where does it say? Space. Right here. If we hit the space, then we load dialogue if we're close. So I think I need to move this into here, and instead of doing this, I need to do a player interactable, basically. So I am interactable, basically, interactable. And what that looks like, let's find out. Let me just do it here. Public interface, I am interactable. And so we're going to have a public bool interact. Yeah, we'll just have that for now. And so this is I am interactable. And so it needs an interact thing. So we'll put that here. So public bool interact. And all we're going to do is say load dialogue. And load dialogue is now going to be a bool. And we're going to say if the player is not in range, return false. Otherwise, load the dialogue and say return true. And so for our interact, we're just going to return load dialogue. So that means when we hit space, we're going to basically get all the interactables within a range and say interact. And until we get one that returns true, we're going to keep going down the list. Interact with these first, interact with those. And we could make a hierarchy. You know, for instance, maybe the first thing you'd interact with is NPCs. And if there's no NPCs, then the next thing is enemies. Maybe space attacks an enemy. And then if there's no enemies, so maybe enemies is first. And then if there's no enemies, then there's pickups. So chests first, and then finally items or items in the world, and then toggles on the wall, anything that can be interacted. So you could make a hierarchy of things to check. For now, we're just going to start with just by taking everything within a range. So this is our first one. We're going to go back to our keys and mouse manager, and we're going to do let's see, shift reverse. Public float interaction range is going to be, I don't know, 5F. It's too far. 3F. All right, and then let's see, escape key. Then we'll say space key. Private void space key. So if not input dot get key down key code dot space. And honestly, this is so return. This is really like interaction key. So in a real game, you'd probably have this customizable. And, you know, you might be doing buttons on a key gamepad or other things that can be interactable. So you, instead of space key, it would probably be interaction key. So you'd be like interaction key, stuff like that. But we're not going to do that for this one. We'll just do space key, hard code it to space key. And so we're going to gather all I am interactables within interaction range, and then go through each one. So this is a job for ChatGPT, because I know how to do this, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So this is a searchable moment. We're going to say Unity C#. I need to get all objects that implement I am interactable within interaction range, which is a float. And then it will tell me we can use the physics overlap sphere. Is that the best way? That's not actually the way I would have done it, off the top of my head, but does seem like it would work. Is there another way to do that without using physics.overlap sphere? Let's see some options here. Find objects of type. Which one's faster? I think this is what I was going to do. I was going to do the find objects of type, but that would find all of them. Then I'd have to check their distance. And then that would make this less efficient because I'd be finding all objects. So we're going to go with this one. This was a good idea to check ChatGPT, wasn't it? Now, because I'm a proponent of learning things, I'm not going to copy paste this. I almost did, but we're not going to. We are going to copy it by typing it, so that we got our muscle memory. So we're going to say colliders equals physics.overlap sphere, and then this is going to be transform position. No, we're going to do game data.game data.player object. Maybe I have a thing for that. Player object dot player object dot position. Radius is interaction range. Yep. For each collider in colliders, I am interactable equals collider.getComponent I am interactable. We'll make this var. If interactable equals null, then we continue. Otherwise, we do something. So this is where we're going to do something, and then we're going to say if interactable.interact, then we will return. If we can interact successfully, return out. Get the I am interactable, or continue to the next object. All right, so I think that should work. Let me do var here and var here, and what is this saying? We can do a for. I don't think we need to do a for. Object. So collider. Collider in range, we'll say. There we go. That doesn't hide anything, and it's human readable. I don't like the shortened versions of things, you know, just COL. I do OBJ for object just because object can't be used, the word object, and OBJ is good enough, I guess, but, you know. We can do a link. What is this? Ooh, look at that. Wow, that's hefty here. What is this? So select collider, select collider in range where interactable is not equal null. Any. Yeah, that's not what we want. This works fine. All right, so that should work, and let's test it out. I think this has a collider on it. It does. So it's a trigger though, so I don't know if maybe it won't work because it's a trigger, but let's find out. We might have to do a debug log and go through all the colliders and just see what we're getting if it doesn't work. Oops, wrong place.
Oh, yippee.
It seemed to work.
Yippee.
Let's just make sure. Be explicit here. Debug.log. Checking collider in range. GameObject.name. It would get, the any would get, I think, I don't know. Any just means if any of them return true. But I don't know if that would mean that it would run through all of them until it checks them all. But really, I think it would just run through the first and then return the first, because the first one, that means any, you know, as long as one hits, then it hits. I don't know the order, though. And I think I want to be able to better control the order, maybe. Maybe not. All right.
Oh, yippee.
So it checked all these things.
Yippee. Yippee. You have found my cube. Oh, baby.
All right. So that worked. So that means we can change this as well. I am interactable, and so we can remove the updates. That's cool. We removed an update. Anytime we remove an update loop is a good thing. Come on, come on, come on. All right. Load dialog is going to be bool. And what do we do here? Yes, that's right. We're checking for player's range. Otherwise, return true. All right. And both of these, however, go with NPC dialog. So it seems to me that NPC dialog should be I am interactable, and so that these don't do that. Instead, this is gonna have to be changed. We do okay. All right, so now the quests themselves, or these instances, versions of each one themselves, don't have an interact thing at all. They just do an override of the load dialog, which does something unique. Each one handles dialogue slightly differently. They have their own logic about which quest they're doing and all that stuff. So you can see that the gold quest dialogue is very different from the puppy quest dialogue. But this will just return false. So if it hasn't been set up, then it returns false. Alright, let's check this. Just make sure it works. These iced coffee drinks, I get them from a can, high brew, triple shot things. Business Costco.
Oh, yep.
Alright, it works. Before in the summer, I was adding just a splash, really, of Starbucks Frappuccino, also from Business Costco. Sweeten it up a bit. But then the past month and a half, 2 months, I haven't been adding the Starbucks one. I did it today, and now this is way too freaking sweet. I got used to it not being sweet, and now that's just too sweet. I already knew that the Starbucks was crazy sweet by itself, like insanely sweet. But yeah, it's almost undrinkable. It's so sweet. All right, so those are interactable now. Now we need to change these to be interactable. So these are condition givers. I believe they're all condition giver. Yeah, so that's easy enough. So I am interactable. Implement missing members. So get key down space. So again, if the player is not in range, return false. Otherwise, give condition, play the audio clip, return true. And now we get rid of our update loop. I probably should have done this earlier, but I didn't, and I'm doing it now. Alright, let's quickly test this. Then we'll do the other things. There's the puppy and the chest are the only other two things right now. So let's go back over here. Get poisoned. That's working. Get healed. That's working. Get haste. That's working. Alright. So those are all interactable now. And then we have the chest and the good old-fashioned puppy. Puppy has its own special script. I am interactable. And where are we? Space. Same deal. Player in range and pick up puppy. So if not player in range, return false. Otherwise, pick up puppy and return true. Alright, and then we will do the treasure box. And interactable. That's nice. This is nice. I like this. This feels good. So if not player in range, return false, and otherwise do that and return true. Get rid of this update. Perfect. Make this a little shorter. On trigger exit, on trigger enter. Puppy, can we make this shorter too? We're not doing any of those, but we are saving it. Perfect. Perfect. We can just do this. Neat. Must have updated some stuff at some point in the past. Alright. One other thing I noticed was this bar up here. This is the game time bar. It also pauses the game when you click it. And that was acting weird earlier, I noticed. It was supposed to be red when it's paused and not red when it's not paused. And so I kind of want to just double check that this is doing what I think it is. Pause levels 2. Game readout. Ah. That's saying the time. Toggle pause. Ah, I see. We're only doing that if it's here. Okay. So, we're going to do that as an update. Private void update. Is paused. Pause level. Okay. That should solve that. And another update is not a problem for only one little object like this. You know, the pause level does have an event on the time board, so we could use that as well. But we don't have to. So let's go to our chest over here. See if that works. It does. And if we were to close this panel, we'd see that's red. Okay. There we go. All right. What's next was the items. So, where are all those? Those are still, I think, they're here. Item objects. Nope, not those. Item objects world. So all of these need to be interactable. So let's see. What does this look like? So this itself does not have a box glider. These do. So each one of these could have its own, like, I don't necessarily want to add a box glider to the main object. So I think what we can do is add one to each of these other objects. So as long as any part of it's within 5 meters, then it would be qualify. So what we're going to do is add a script here. And then for each of these have a script that has the interactable that then calls this and does the actual interaction. Item world. This is ripe for refactoring. Excuse me. All right, let's refactor. Change this to a game item object. So this is basically says this is the world item, and it has its own. I'll keep that there. It has its own reference to what it is, but we're gonna make this something that we can override. Yeah, and so. To do that, I'm going to create a script, a demo script. I'm going to call this inventory, create C#, item world interactable. Because not all items are necessarily going to be interactable. And this is going to be namespace infinity.modules.demo, and put this up here, and this is going to be item world. And let's see, what is item world? It is modules inventory. Okay, maybe it will be just inventory. I mean, it doesn't have to be a demo, perhaps. We'll see. Maybe I'll make it inventory demo, but all right, so it's in the inventory. Same namespace as the other one. I think I might end up moving all these to be just modules. I haven't decided about that yet. Should turn off this heater. It's gotten warm enough. What else do we have? So item world has the game item object. This has I am interactable. Oh no, this is. Yeah, that's fine. We can do this. Return false, or right, really, yeah, return false. And then what we're gonna do is add a script called item world collider interactable. Interactable collider. Yeah, we'll do that. So this is actually now in the wrong spot. It shouldn't be in this spot. I gotta move it. Move it before I forget. So this is going to be in inventory scripts down here. Okay, and then we're going to duplicate it and collider. And so this is interactable, but it's also going to have a parent. So public item world interactable is parent. And then when we do interact here, we're just going to call parent.interact. Now, if that returns null, good, because you need to set that up. So this is going to be now interactable collider, and both of these will have, this is the parent, but wait a minute, we don't need item world here. No behavior. All right. And we can't assign it yet because the axe itself needs to have the item world interactable. All right, so that means that if we did have a box collider or a collider on this, then it would work just fine. But since we don't, we're going to take these, and these will get the interact option and just call the parent interact method, so that we only have to set it up once. So what do we do about that? So okay, so the item world interactable is going to do something, but it's going to be unique for every project. How you handle an item that's getting picked up, that's entirely up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to do that. What do you think? I'm a monster? You think I'm one of those people who tells you how to make your game? Pfft, pisha, give me a break. No, I'm not going to tell you how to make your game. Instead, you're gonna make your game. I'm just going to help you by giving you cool scripts. So, really, item world interactable, we're going to override this on another script, and this is the script that's going to be up here. In our scripts up here, we're going to call this C#. We're going to see item world interactable RPG demo. To make it absolutely clear that this is a demo, it's going to inherit for that, and we're going to say namespace infinity.modules.demo, and we're going to copy and paste this all up here, delete that junk, and then yes, import missing references. All right, so this is going to have an override of this. In fact, we're going to make this one virtual as well, so you could make your own version of this. All right, and then, all right, so this one is going to override interact. So we're going to say public override bool interact. And right now we just return false. So what do we do when we interact? We're going to say, well, we need game data, so using static infinity modules.demo.gameData. So we're going to say game data.activePlayer.take into inventory grid the game item object. But we're going to make sure that works. So if we can take it, then we return true. Otherwise, we'll pick it up. So the active player will just take it into their inventory, but if their inventory is full, then we'll put it as the on-screen item. So using static Infinity PBR modules.inventory.on-screen item, then we'll say if on-screen item.pickup game item object, then return true. And if for some reason we couldn't pick that up, then we're going to return false. So first, try to give it to the active player directly. Otherwise, pick it up as the on-screen item. If for whatever reason we couldn't, return false. But we should be able to. All right, so that's that, and then we're gonna put this on the object itself. So here we're gonna remove this, and then we're gonna add in interactable RPG demo, and then these are going to get that parent right there. And we're gonna have to do this to all of them. All the item worlds right here. So we'll just quickly do it. So, tell me a joke. I don't know any jokes right now. I'm busy. I can't do two things at once. Well, I can. Clearly, I can do more than one thing at once. But I can't, like, do this and also talk about whatever at the same time, because my brain is trying to focus on this repetitive task. Oh, you know what we can do? Here. This will make it a little bit faster. We'll do all of these. Add component, interactable RPG demo, and then we only have to do these. Interactable collider. That should save a little bit of the repetition. Really don't need it on all of these bits, but we're just going to do it anyways. Four more to go. Oh, and there's the spear. I kept seeing the spear fall through the ground, and so I thought maybe one of these didn't have the collider, but it did. It's just, I don't know what it was doing. Same with the staff. It seems perfectly fine. Did I do the spear? Did I set these? Yes, I did. Okay. Sword. There's the last one. Alright, so now any object can be interactable and can do its own thing. So let's see if that works. So we'll take something big, plate armor, throw it out there. All right. That's good, I guess. Let's see. Good because something happened. Attempting to get an object with a null or empty UID. Keyboard Mouse Manager, Collider, RPG Demo, take into receive transfer. Owner, set stats dirty. There's a lot going on here. Ah. Somehow the game item object doesn't have a parent. And it's supposed to get it by the UID. But maybe let's look at the object. Maybe the object is not getting the proper stuff. Pick up, throw. Now our plate armor should be in the world. Is it's empty. There is nothing there. That explains that. So on-screen item. Oops. On-screen item is going to say give held object, reset panel, drop object. So apparently we're not setting the object properly. Or we're not picking it up properly. Let's see. Pick up item. So now our plate armor, where is it? Right here. In-game prefab is that. Let's see. Pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up. So got clicked pickup. It says on screen pick up this game item object. So first we're doing a clone. Make it a clone. And that's going to be a clone too. So both of those are going to be clones. Okay. So pick up the clone. Object prefab is that. Item held is this. So when we give, we are giving the item held. When we are dropping, drop object that. Item to spawn. Instantiate that world item. Aha. No, it should work, right? Actually, so what I think is going on here is these items are not item world, they are item world whatever. And let me see this real quick. these are item world interactable RPG demo. And so it's not getting the component. So let me ask ChatGPT here. How do we do this? So class item world. The object I'm looking to get is item world child, which inherits from item world. That code won't find it. Is there a way to find item world child objects without knowing whether, or find the object without knowing whether they are item world or item world child? I think I just need to do like I am item world. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. This isn't it at all. The items that are item world child are not found. Duh. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. To see if they're derived from. Huh. That's not. Because I'm just saying get component that inherits from yeah. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Let's see if this works. I am item world and public interface. I am item world. And this is going to have public game item object, game item object. And we can't do that, so we're going to be item object. Can't do that, or we can. Oh, I see. Game item object. I see. I think we have to do that there. Okay, and then here we will say public game item object game item object is going to return game item object. We can't do this. Correct. Okay. So now in our on-screen item, we say I am item world. Set game item object to a clone of that. And we will move this. We will be public game game item object set game item object game value game item object value is going to be game item object equals value, and then public game item object set game item object, and pass in game item object value. All right. All right, let's see if that works. Press play again, and it's interesting how the viewer count goes down after about 2 hours. 2.5 hours is when it really starts tanking. I think it's from all the people who are like, okay, I'll press play and just have it be in the background and then go off and do their own thing. Makes sense. All right, so we're going to pick this up, throw it in the world, and see, did it work? Where is it now? Did not work. So let's do a debug log here. Debug.log warning. The UID is... So world item dot get component I am item world dot game item object dot UID. So if is working, we should see that. Okay, so the UID is that. But the spear itself, though, doesn't seem to have it here. Why not? World item. Set game item object. And then get component item world game item object. So it seems like it's set, but then it doesn't get set. Item world item dot name. Do that after we remove the clone from the name. And we're going to do this once after the remove item, just in case the remove item is what's the issue. Okay, so that's not the issue. Yet still it's not there. Let's do a different debug log then. So public void update debug.log UID, or rather, we're going to say has object, or game item object is null, game item object equals null, and then if game item object equals null, then we'll return. Otherwise, we will say debug.log UID is game item object.uid. All right, so we should see that being spat out, but let's see. See, game ID is null. It never once changed. I don't know where that is in this mass of things. That's weird. What's going on here? What is going on? So item world goes to item world interactable. It goes to this. This is always null. Yet on-screen item gets the component and sets it to that. So what if we move these here? Would it suddenly start working? Is it gonna crash? Did it crash? I did a very good job in the last 3 hours of not changing code too often. Oh, whoops, wrong button. Wrong application. But in this case, it did crash. Wrong button again. Now we're going to load up the whole Asset Store Projects project. Alright. That's going to take longer to load. Alright, so we're going to press play. Do the collapse. Pick up item. It still didn't work. I thought it would have. I thought it would have. I don't know. I really don't know why it's not working. I gotta quit this now. Alright. I really don't. Very strange. On-screen item. So get the world item, instantiate the item. Get the component I am item world and set that. So we're going to do debug. Return game item object. Debug.log original UID is game item object.uid. And then put it on this one to see which one it takes. Demo UID is that. All right. Let's see if we get these. Hi, Tech Dave. Well, going to work on the Kitchen Chaos project. Oh, I'll have fun with that. Thanks, Tech Dave, for hanging out. Always appreciate it. All right, let's pick up the long spear, throw it. Original. So it's calling the original. And then on this one, it's not doing it at all. So why isn't the override happening? Why wouldn't the override be happening? This is item world interactable takes from item world, and item world interactable RGB demo takes from item world interactable. It can override this, and this is seen. One override. Well, I just don't know. try something. Ah, did I do it again? My backup drive is also spinning up, so that could be what's going on. Yeah. And I just added a space. All I did was add a space. Anyways, we're going to add a public string UID. Ignore. Should have let it load first. All right. Public string UID, and we're going to say UID equals game item object dot UID, and then we're going to see if that gets populated. It did not. All right. So what I'm not sure about is why the override isn't being triggered. Because if I were to do this, I'm pretty sure this would work. Why isn't that? It's mono behavior. So it worked there. Perfectly fine. The problem is I want it to work with I am world item. And I have a sneaky suspicion now. But we're going to find out. Okay. So that wasn't, my sneaky suspicion was wrong. All right, so for whatever reason, going for this doesn't seem to get me the override. I'm not sure. I'm going to ask my friends. So I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to ask the audience. Well, not the audience. I'm going to ask the friends. I'm going to ask the Jasons and the Uris of the world if they know, because I am very confused. We can ask ChatGPT before we go to them. We can say, new chat. This code finds the component that implements I am item world. However, the class is item world child, which inherits from item world. Item world implements I am item world. The methods on item world are on child override those on item world. However, the item world methods are being called rather than the overrides. Why? Let's see if ChatGPT knows. Oh. That's annoying. Item world child. Well, that's annoying. I don't like that answer. Because this needs to not care. So what if then we have to do what if we do that? All right, I'm gonna have a think. I think maybe I just need to not do the overriding here. It's frustrating. Not sure why it wouldn't do that, but anyways, I'm gonna call it a stream. It's been a good 3 hours, 20 minutes. So thank you for hanging out. For those of you who did, and I will see you later. Thanks.